Hello, my name is Marcelo Schmid. I am the managing partner of Grupo Index, and today I'm here with my friend Albrecht von Ruffer. I will call him Albi. He is the CEO of Skylab, to talk about our partnership, the partnership made between Grupo Index and Skylab. Hello, Albi, how are you?
Hello, Marcelo, I'm fine. Bom dia.
Bom dia.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. So I would like to start our conversation, talk about the technology behind Skylab Services. So Skylab is a company dedicated to development and application of deep learning and advanced analysis of data collected from forest plantations. How do these technologies operate, Albi? Can you explain for us?
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, basically, when we set out to developing these technologies, we had two main goals. We wanted to make them as simple as possible for our users, the forestry community, and we wanted to achieve high accuracies. So, so basically, what it means, we use remote sensing data from drones, from planes, from satellite, and we analyze them with a focus purely on the forestry context. So we are very focused on forestry and have a team of forestry and remote sensing and AI experts. And what we did is we developed our AI technology to analyze remote sensing data, usually normal images, like normal color images. That's keeping it simple part. So we wanted the data capture to be simple and low cost, so that a forester with a normal drone, DJI drone, can go out, capture imagery, send the images to us, and our algorithms will analyze the imagery for them. So keeping it simple, using the simplest possible data source. Of course, we can work with LiDAR and with multispectral data if it's necessary, but we wanted to keep it simple. And the second part, to achieve high accuracy, of course, that's the secret that we developed. So how do we make AI results as good and as accurate as possible? Well, it requires a lot of training and a lot of understanding of the forestry. So yeah, that's in a nutshell what's behind this.
Thanks, Albi. I would like to talk about the partnership between Grupo Index and Skylab. This is a really special year for Grupo Index. We completed half a century of existence. And during this long journey, the innovation spirit has always been present in our work. For the next 50 years, our goal is to continue contributing to the development of our sector. And this is definitely the reason why we made the partnership with Skylab, as technology will play an important role in our sector. So, Albi, what can our customers expect from this partnership?
Well, I mean, first of all, congratulations on 50 years. I hope that Skylab is at one point able to look back on 50 years of history as well. And that's basically already a big important point why we think our partnership will be valuable, not only to the two companies, but also to our joint customers in Brazil, because here we see a combination of a long-term experience of the Brazilian forestry market with a deep understanding of the market and of the customer needs and of the forests that you have in Brazil, the different kinds of forests. We bring the leading forest AI technology to Brazil, and I think in combining that, that will achieve a lot. Coupling the deep understanding of the forestry market and the requirements, the needs of your customers, with our deep understanding of technology, of different forest types around the world, that will be a very useful and valuable combination, I think. So combining really the classic tools of forest management, strategic advice, forest market developments, with really cutting edge digitalization and AI technology. So that's where I think the real value lies. And of course, what does it mean to your customers or to our customers in Brazil? So really, there's a double bottom line, if you like. So of course, it should help to achieve a reduction in costs by having more efficient ways to inventorize and manage your forests. But of course, also leading to higher productivities. Well, we call it precision forestry, right? We will know exactly where plantations fail, where low growth is occurring, where action is needed to improve the productivity. So, I mean, just I'll give you one example. Our seedling counter, of course, counts seedlings, but it also looks at wheat and vitality. So, from that, you can directly understand where weed pressure is high and where weed management is required, or where the vitality of some seedlings is below the average or the required level, and you can take immediate action there. So that's just one example of how this can play out.
Okay, this is certainly something that our customers are looking for, and the Brazilian companies are looking for. And as you mentioned some examples, I would like to talk and a little bit about the products that Skylab will offer to Brazil. We have the seedling, the tree counter, change monitor, and digital forester. So could you tell us the specifics of each one of them and how do they add value to companies in the forest sector, please?
Yeah, of course, yeah. I mean, as I said already, the seedling counter is really, it's using high resolution drone data to count all of the seedlings. So instead of relying on individual spot samples that you extrapolate to know a certain survival rate, you know the yes or no of every seedling across the entire stand. So you can, even if your overall survival is high, you can see even the smaller patches of low survival and decide individually whether replanting is required. As I said, wheat and vitality is an important thing to monitor. And as the trees grow, you can look at tree heights and the full volume inventory, at uniformity, which is an important measure. And the tree counter, for example, helps you considering thinning or harvesting operations, quality control of planting and of contractors. And then we have two more products. The digital forester is really the complete inventory. So it looks at 3D modeling instead of two-dimensional counting. So we look at the whole structure of the forest to understand the entire structure of the forest and combine that with terrestrial samples. Both are being fed into our AI technology to then provide you with full volume estimates of the entire stand. And again, it shows you the variation across the entire stand. So you can look at different growth dynamics across the stand and manage your forest accordingly. And of course, you have a better upstream planning of logistics. So how much volume is to be expected? Is this already the ideal time for thinning or harvesting, or should you delay this by a certain time frame? So all these factors can be much better understood. And then finally, the change monitor, that is usually looking at satellite data. So we look at broader regions. We can look at the entire estate of a customer and understand the growth dynamics and the health of the forest. So of course, climate change is affecting forests everywhere as well. So we see more droughts, more disease, more change that need to be understood so that it can be reacted to. But we can also see things like illegal logging or of course damage assessment after a fire or a storm. So really looking at the change that's happening in the forest so that the forester can understand what's happening and react to that change. That's again, in a nutshell, our four main products that we're hoping to deploy in the Brazilian market.
Okay, all right. Yeah, as I already said before, we truly believe that technology and innovation will play an important role in the next years in the forest sector. And that's why I think that our partnership is so important right now. However, something that could concern our customer is if the work developed by Skylab in Europe, Australia, and other countries is really could be replicated here in Brazil, as we have different foresters and different geographies. So it is something that could be applied and developed in all over the world.
Yeah, I mean that's of course every country, every region has specifics, starting with climate, but also species or the use of different clones. But again, we have developed our standard products to be applicable not only to a certain region. So the workflows and the basic concept of the products are standardized. So we can use them in Australia, in Brazil, and in the US, as well as in Europe. But of course, we understand there are country and region specific differences that we need to consider and really adapt our products to these. So how it works is basically that we learn, or we make our technology learn the regional specific circumstances by really us feeding more and more training data. So although, for example, we have basically a universal model to detect eucalyptus seedlings. So a universal model means our AI technology has been trained by millions and millions of eucalyptus seedlings from around the world, and it can find a Spanish eucalyptus seedling in Spain, in the data sets provided from Spain, as well as in a data set from Australia or from the US or from Brazil. But of course, still there are, as I said, regional specific differences. So what we always do is when we in the onboarding process of a new customer, we look at the first several data sets in a lot of detail. We make sure that the first results deliver high accuracies, as is our promise, really. So the high accuracy that is required for really good results, for good data sets. So we do high levels of quality control, and if needed, we do some retraining. So if we find that the level of accuracy is slightly below what we want it to be, then we do additional training with this customer specific data to get the accuracy level up again. And I mean, we're already doing this at large numbers in Brazil. We're working with a number of customers, and we are training our algorithm to think more Brazilian, basically. So it finds the eucalyptus and the pine seedlings, or for that matter, teak or other seedlings that may be the ones that you're looking for. But of course, eucalyptus and pine are the main products. So yeah, that's how we are sure that we can replicate our technology and the good results in other regions as well.
So can we say, based on what you just said, can we say that Skylab work can be developed in any kind of forest all over the world? It's just a matter of learning and teaching the algorithms to the details and the growth and the characteristics of each forest, and it's possible to adapt and develop for any kind of forest.
Well, in a sense, yes, because we're not, it's not a static system. AI means it's not human intelligence, of course, so it's not as diversely usable as our brains. It's focused on a certain task, and given enough training data, it can achieve good results in almost any kind of forest. Mind you, forest the more natural a forest is, the more complex it is. So if we were talking about mixed species, mixed age classes, it becomes more and more complex. So counting individual trees, for example, will be a lot harder. But still, you can do a 3D analysis and feed for example, feed terrestrial sampling data into the model, and still it will deliver a pretty good result on the total volume or total biomass. If you're interested in carbon, that is something that can also be monitored. So it really, yes, the forests can be very complex, which means it will be harder to get really accurate results. But we need to consider, what are we comparing this against? So how would you do this without technology? You would do spot sampling, you would do an extrapolation, and if the forest is very complex with different stratums and age classes, then of course your terrestrial samples will also be not, the extrapolation of the terrestrial samples will also be not super accurate. So it really depends on what you want to achieve and what forest you want to look at. But yes, in essence, it can be trained on any kind of forest and adapt to different circumstances, depending on what you expect and what you need.
Yeah, this is really important considering our customers' need in Brazil, because we are seeing basically all of our customers are kind of studying somehow the use of technology is something that is on the table of every Brazilian forest-based company. And as we're talking about this special moment that we are living, when companies are investing and looking to the future in terms of technology, I would like to ask you, how do you see the investment made by forest-based companies to promote the use of technology? Do you think that this is just the beginning? Do you think that they are investing enough, or there's a lot of things to come yet?
Well, it's a bit hard for me to answer because I guess I don't have the deep enough understanding and overview of especially the Brazilian forestry market. But what I'm seeing is that, yes, every company that we're speaking to obviously is considering technology or has already invested and is deploying technology for forestry operations and forestry management. I think maybe investment is not the right viewpoint. I think it's more, are you ready for technology? Are you ready to take a leap? Because what we find is that most customers, of course, they are very used to the traditional ways of forest management and terrestrial sampling. They understand how the data is generated, and they understand the shortcomings of the data, and of the results. So yes, terrestrial sampling, extrapolation, yield tables, all that has a long tradition, but it's also not super accurate on a stand level. If you look at a whole estate, it will have a sufficient level of accuracy. But now we are basically asking our customers to take a big step, because it means moving away from generating data yourself and basically accepting that the data produced by technology, the analysis results produced by technology, are something that can be relied on and is a much more accurate way of analyzing the forest. So it's more in the mind, are you ready for new technologies to accept the data and the results that come out of that, to really apply that in your day-to-day forest management? And I mean, the beauty of this kind of remote sensing data analysis is there is no need for heavy investments. Yes, you need to have maybe some equipment, like it's useful to have drones yourself instead of hiring third-party operators, because that's just it's just a lot more efficient and probably cheaper to fly the drones yourself, and it's super easy. So we can do training of that, and then just upload the data into the cloud, and the powerful cloud engine will process and analyze the data with our quality assurance procedures in place, and therefore there is no need for heavy investment. Maybe just a final thought on that. It's always also a question of make or buy, right? So we see some customers looking to develop their own AI technology for certain analysis, seedling counting, or for volume estimation. And of course, that's understandable, but I'm really wondering whether that's the best way of using resources. We're trying to address this by offering our technology. It can basically be boxed in. So we get a lot of data from our customers, and there's concerns about privacy or disclosure of the data. Of course, they're safe, needless to say that, but still, we can take it one step further and ensure that the data are in a box that is controlled by the customer, and our technology is applied to that data. So there's that full control of the data by the customer is possible with our technology. So no investments are really needed. That's the good news. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is really good news, because I'm sure that a lot of people still think that it costs a lot of money to bring this new technologies to the forest activities, and it doesn't. We can have solutions like the ones that Skylab is offering in partnership with Index in Brazil, in a feasible and interesting way.
Well, absolutely. I mean, basically, we have invested a lot of time and efforts and resources and money so that our customers don't have to. So that's the simple formula.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So I would like to thank you, Albi, for the clarifications, for all the details about Skylab. We are really excited in Grupo Index to bring this technology to Brazil, and I'm sure that this will play a really important piece here in our customers' management and planning of their activity in the future.
Excellent. No, thanks, Marcelo. It was a pleasure giving some insights, and I'm really looking forward to working with you and the Brazilian forestry industry to bring our technology and make forest management more efficient and increase productivity. So thanks for that.
Perfect. So friends, if you are interested in these products of the partnership, please visit the link in the description of this video on our profiles and on social media, and request a contact from our team.